But
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode 23 of Le Poolboy Show.
the Poolboy show. Actually, you have to say it in French.
Le Poolboy Show. Hey, mesdames et messieurs, man. Bill 96, man. Bienvenue à l'épisode 23 du Poolboy Show. We have the pleasure, honestly, I can't believe we have this guest with us today. We discovered her online with a couple of other podcasts that you do. Founder of Sofa.
Yeah, remember.
Ça?
Yeah.
Sofa Sexologist, no?
Sofa Sexologique.
Exact.
C'est ça.
Ouais.
Founder of Sofa Sexologique, Kanica.
Woo! There's a massive audience here, guys. I don't know if you can see, but
Thank you for having me.
yeah.
It's such a
Yeah,
pleasure,
man.
honestly. It's early morning. You told me earlier that you're not much of a morning person.
But I have my Bob Ross.
Let's go. Bob Ross is in the house.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
there we
I'm
go.
okay.
Okay, we're good. So yeah, it's the first time we have a sexologist on the podcast, and this is the earliest podcast in Poolboy history.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a huge milestone today.
Yeah.
Let's see how it goes.
Yeah, let's see how
For
it
all
goes.
three of us.
We're off to a fiery start.
Yeah,
We're off to a
yeah,
fiery start, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah.
So, Kanica, am I saying it right? Kanica?
Yeah.
Tell us, how did you get into sexology?
Yeah, the romantic story would be like, I always knew I wanted to do this, but that's not true.
Okay.
I was in the army before for 5 years.
What?
Okay.
Yeah, I know,
Oh,
I
yeah?
know, I know. People are like, "What the hell?" Yeah, I was in the army before, and after a while, I was like, I didn't do anything else of my life, and I was like, I don't see myself staying in the army for Canadian Army.
Mm.
Then I took a 1-year leave, and then I did because I didn't go to CJEP. I couldn't apply to every university, right? So I couldn't apply to McGill and the University of Montreal. Then I saw sexology at UQAM. I'm like, oh, this sounds funny. Like the title of the program is fun. It's probably like love and sex. So I applied, and they took me. Okay, so I did 3 years, and that's how I ended up at sexology. And I really didn't know what it was before. Like I really thought it was just like sex and love. But after I finally after like the second year, I'm like, oh, this is really cool. It's way more broader than what people think. And after I graduated, I was like, okay, I'm not gonna. Most sexologists end up in. How do you say organisme communautaire in English? Community.
A nonprofit, I guess, or
Yeah,
or a community type
Like
of
centers. Okay.
Yeah.
Most
something,
sexologists
yeah.
end up there, and I'm like, I
Why?
don't want to do that. Because we
For the youth.
not only for youth, for also all sorts of like marginalized population, basically. So I specialize with immigrants, asylum seekers, and refugees. But the pay is just so low. Like as you know, the pay is so low. So I'm like, I don't want to earn $30K a year. Then I founded the clinic, basically the therapy clinic.
Sofa
So-
Sexologique.
Yes, exactly.
Sofa Sexologique.
Exactly. And here I am today in your garage.
Yeah, let's do this thing. In Verdun, baby.
Okay,
Broadcasting live.
So for the people who don't know what a sexologist is it kind of like a therapist but focus on sex issues?
Yes. Yes. So what I do is mainly that, okay? And because there's the word sex and sexologist, people only focus on, oh, so you must talk about everything that happens in the bedroom. Yes and no. So it's really more often people will come and be like, yes, it's about erection and orgasm and stuff like that. But then you just dig a little and then it becomes about the relationship. So it's relationship therapy. You dig a little, it becomes like life therapy. Because, for example, the person is still stressed out or very anxious. So I really like to say it's general therapy because
Right.
everything is in everything. Like in French, tout est dans tout.
Ouais.
So it's really not that. I like to say that I'm like a general therapist, and if we have to talk about sex, it's really not like non-judgmental, not taboo, and that is my specialty. So that is what I do right now. But if you meet a sexologist in Quebec, most of the time they won't be doing private practice like me. They'll be doing sex education. So anything in front of a group, not just youth, anything in front of a group. And some sexologists, they don't work with the public. They'll do like programs and stuff for the government and things like that. Okay, so what I do is sex therapy, but if you meet other sexologists in the province, maybe they'll do something else. Okay.
That's fascinating. So I feel it's like a therapy, but the whole sex part is not only not taboo, but it's you really have like your specialty is actually that. So
Yeah, really.
and I think it's also fascinating like how, you know, I've said this a lot on the podcast, how sex is so intertwined with like who we are as a species, not only, but like in society as well.
Yeah.
And it's crazy that it's one of the most taboo things ever. But like we are all sexual beings. I literally come from sex. You come from sex.
Yeah,
Sam
true.
comes from sex,
Well
you know?
said.
It's kind of like a funny contradiction. in a
Yeah,
way.
really. People come to me and they're like, what I'm about to say is really, I'm like, just spit it out. For me, like, like you see my vibe. Like for me, it's like talking about what you ate for dinner. Like you're here for that.
Yeah.
Like it's written text everywhere on my diplomas and everything in the office. So I'm just like, it's really fascinating for me. It's like they're so shy about it.
And how long do you feel that shyness? Because I guess for the most part, you do probably more than one therapy session.
Yeah, of course.
Exactly.
Yeah, one is like there's nothing.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's how long before the person that's seeking therapy opens up or is less off-put by...
It depends on the person. Like it always
course,
depends on the person. But like I'll say, I like to say it because I'm so cool.
You are quite cool.
They'll be like they'll open up. They'll open up, and I tell them straight up like, I know you're shy, but you pay me for this. You can come 5-10 more sessions if you feel like it's you're shy, but the longer that you take, the longer it's gonna take you. Yeah, exactly.
That's very straightforward. I fuck with it.
So I'm always like that. I'm like, people come in, I'm like, sometimes they're because they're so shy, they're like, oh, how are you? I'm like, no, this is not about me today. This is not a bi-directional conversation. And then they're like, I'm like, there's silence, and I'll be like, okay, what are you paying? What are you paying for? What are you paying for
me for
today?
Yeah.
You know, like what can I help facilitate you? So then it's really like it puts people to the wall.
Spot.
Yeah, I'd be like, come and talk to me about the real things because you can beat around the bush with like when you talk about it with your partner, with yourself. But with me, I don't want you to waste your time.
Yo, it must be so like it must take such a huge weight off somebody's shoulders when they're able to like say the real shit. Have you ever seen a sexologist?
No, I've seen a therapist.
Oh yeah, therapist, yeah, for sure.
But you just say everything with like no filters.
Yeah, exactly.
Like that's what I did when I got on.
Yeah.
I was like, yo, my BB don't work.
Hold up, Felicia. Hey, stop bumming my phone. My phone blowing up. Come on, you need to go home. Get out. Call me Felicia. High school romance. Now you got a boyfriend. Come on, and I'm still a drug addict. I need a fucking blow up. I need a fucking bang. I need some fucking rain. I need a bang.
Yeah, and the best is like when especially guys when they'll come and talk to me and they'd be like, it's the first time I said this to someone. I'm like, first of all, thank you. Okay, and how does it feel? They're just like it's a big weight off my shoulder. And one guy told me like, it's really cool to talk about that because with my boys I don't really talk about it in this way. It's more maybe like a performance or maybe like a bit of a context. So it's like, oh, it's fun to talk out loud with someone of things that I think about in my head anyway. So that's the vibe.
And it gets it out. It doesn't live in your head anymore, you know? That's why they say like you should write down everything that's going on in your head because it takes off that weight. Like
and
that mental weight.
at the same time, you probably have the whole other side of the spectrum of like people that just walk into the office, drop their bags and like, okay, listen, my pee don't work.
Yeah, okay, but it's not like my PP don't work.
Yeah,
if they tell me that, I'll be like, go see a doctor, okay? I want to be like, okay, your PP don't work, and how does it affect you and your relationship, okay? Or just you with yourself, okay?
Speaking of pee don't work, what's the...
I'm going to use that again.
What's the percentage of men versus women that you see?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a good one. How much do you think? What do you think?
I would say 50-50, honestly.
I think guys are. Oh fuck! It's actually tough. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think
let me assess too.
I think guys would want to seek comfort in a like cute therapist. Like I'm gonna say it, but like you know what I mean.
You would only want to see a cute therapist.
I don't know.
Okay, but let's talk about that cute.
No.
Okay, like a woman or cute. Like
Well,
that's
for me, it's woman. I don't know. There's another guy that might be, you know,
Yeah.
that might like both. I don't know.
Okay, so I think the percentage is maybe 30-70.
70
Which
women.
way?
Yeah.
70. So 70% that come to you are women.
Yeah, I think so. Like 30 30-70 or like 40-60. So it's not 50-50, that I know for sure.
But it's true that women are more like in tune with what's going on internally and their emotions, so they're more likely to open up about it.
Yeah, exactly. No, it's just like women are just more used to since childhood to talk about stuff in general.
Yeah.
But coming back to like a cute therapist, okay? So I know that a lot of guys they'll tell me like, I just feel less threatened if I come to talk to a woman. If a guy says, I want to go see a cute therapist, okay, funny enough, most guys don't go see a cute therapist because then there's going to activate a bunch of things you don't want to, for the same reason that, for example, if a guy has a very difficult relationship with his mom, he's probably not going to want to go see someone who looks like his mom because it'll trigger stuff basically.
Right.
And something that happens, we call it erotic transfer, is when a heterosexual male client falls in love with the therapist, which happens. Okay, so when that happens, there's so many clinical themes to address. Like, okay, why do you think you're in love with me? Is it because I listen to you nicely, non-judgmentally, and all those things? So basically, and maybe that person doesn't feel like he has that in his life. So it's not that he's in love with me or the therapist. He's in love with the service that we provide. And that says a lot about where he's at in his life, basically, okay?
Yeah.
So a lot of guys don't go see a cute therapist.
Why not?
Because they know.
Because they don't want to fall in love or whatever?
No, because they know they're like, I'm not going to be able to open up. Like, is he trying to, like they'll, for example, if you think about someone you have a difficult relationship with, if you go see a therapist that looks like that person, you're going to be like,
Yeah, you're going to be off-put for sure.
Yeah, off-put, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, I see.
So, for example, Sexologique, the company that you started, do you offer therapy, sexual therapy services? Do you have employees or are you the only one?
No, so now we're 4 because I started solo, okay, like most therapists do. And then when I had more people that wanted to work with me and I couldn't, so I had to refer them out. I was like, I don't want to refer them out. That's like working on a restaurant and then not having enough seats and having to send them to another restaurant.
Of course.
So then I took other sexologists that I know that they have the same vibe as I do, okay? So we're 4. And the thing is that people don't know, like, we don't work with 40 clients a week. Like, I can't see that much people. So when you have an office, you can rotate like a lot of full-time therapists. So we're a team and we're still like different individual, like you see my personality, but we're all the same that in the sense that we're real, we're authentic. We're not like,
And where did you meet these other sexologists?
I scout them online.
That's really cool. Kind of like how we scouted you.
Yeah, we scouted you.
Exactly.
LinkedIn vibes.
So I'm like, I did like just like, hey, I'm trying to recruit, come and talk to me. And then I just talk to people and be like, who's the coolest?
That's so cool.
Basically.
And how long has it been up and running?
Like 3 years.
Cool, man.
Yeah, 3 since the pandemic. Yeah.
Okay, so pandemic must have been booming for you.
Everybody tells me that.
But
the
was
thing
it?
I don't know if it's because of the pandemic. Is it because life, like pandemic or not pandemic, life goes on and shit happens anyway. Okay, so I don't know. Like, did the pandemic? Yes, it must have helped. Okay, but is it because of that? Is it because we live now in a time where people are more like seeking help? Is it because our generation is more open? I don't like. There's so many factors, but pandemic must have helped. But
Yeah, I did my sessions during the pandemic.
Yeah?
I think it was after the second lockdown, or I don't know. It was
It's
like a
hard to
winter.
keep
It was like a winter, bro. And it was dark, and I wasn't seeing anyone.
Mm.
And I was like, "Yo, I need to talk to someone."
you need to talk to someone.
Yeah.
Were you doing virtual or in person?
I was doing Zoom.
Okay, how did you like that?
I think it took off a lot of weight. Like in hindsight, I was like, there was just so much boiling inside of me that I was just recycled old like thoughts that I was having and insecurities, and I just unloaded and I just said it all. Just saying it all, like fully unload, took that weight off. Like, and it's only in hindsight that I'm like, that helped actually.
What
Must
would you
have
say?
slept like a baby.
What would you say to people? Because some guys, because I was in the army before, I like to work with like dudes basically.
Yeah.
Okay, some guys tell me like, oh, why would I go? Like, she's not gonna tell me something I already know. What would you answer to that?
No, I
That's
don't.
a lot of people think that I already know my problem. She's not gonna tell me something new.
No. The way they like ask you questions and lead you, they kind of like flash a flashlight into your own mind. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You're like talking about the story, and they're like, "Did you look over there?" And you're like, and you put the
It's your
flashlight on
mom.
it.
Mommy issues.
No, bro, she did this thing. She's like, go back and put the flashlight on a 7-year-old version of yourself.
Yeah, that's
what would
okay.
what would you tell him?
That's
And then
that's
she like hypnotized me into like going to my 7-year-old self and being like, yo, it's gonna be okay, bro. And it was like
Are
it
you,
was
are you serious?
yeah.
Okay, was it the hypnotherapist?
It wasn't, but she was like doing the flashlight activity
head.
in the head.
Okay.
Close your eyes. What would you say to the little boy? And I went.
That's
there.
pretty intense, right?
Yeah. It was
Yeah.
so intense.
What-
Even talking about it now, I was like, whoa,
No,
shit.
that's
It was
inner.
deep.
That's like that. I'll call that inner child work. And some of my clients, I won't do that because it's so
It's
deep.
too dark.
It's really deep. Some people, it's too. Yeah, like
Yeah.
they'll freeze and.
It's like that scene of like Stranger Things where there's like monsters everywhere.
Yeah,
There's like a little
yeah,
17-year-old
the
boy.
under, the upside down.
Yeah, the upside down.
I've already been to a hypnotherapist when I was
Yeah.
in first year of CJEP in
Okay.
Dawson,
Huh?
and it was pretty.
What
it
do
was
they do? Like I'm really
basically
curious.
like I lied down
Yeah?
and like she told me to close my eyes, and it was like a lot of work, like breathing work,
Yeah.
and like a lot of like levels. Like that's the exercises we were doing was like you're at the first level and this is how you feel. Then tu comme dans un ascenseur. Then you're going up.
Yeah, it's like relaxation states, right?
Yeah, something like that. And then just the process of going under basically, and then the process of going back up, like getting back awake, because you don't just like, okay, time to wake up. It's like, okay, now you start feeling your legs move a bit, there's more feeling in your arms, deeper breaths, you open your eyes, and then
But do you talk about like certain situations or like I wonder if
it
it's more like
it
a
happened
body.
a long time ago,
Oh, okay,
but
okay.
it was maybe some things like in reference to like you're a 16-year-old boy now, no, or like then you keep getting younger, things like that. But it was a long time ago, so I don't remember exactly. But to tell you the truth, I was doing that because I had to, and maybe I wasn't in the best like state of mind to like accept the.
Were you forced to do it?
Kind of, yeah, by like for like school or like.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
That's never the. I really don't encourage people. Like for example, girlfriend and boyfriend. The girlfriend's like, "I'm gonna leave you if you don't go to therapy," and then I get the boyfriend, and I'm just like, "Don't waste your time. Don't waste your money. Don't waste my time either." Okay, like I see that you're there because of like the motive is not. It doesn't come from you. I can see. Even sometimes I'm like, yes, I really want to do this. I'm like, it's been 30 years that you're like that, and you think you're gonna change in like 3 sessions because your girlfriend is gonna dump you. Like, don't put that pressure on me, and that's not realist of how like human work basically. Okay?
Yeah, true.
There's something about like you know what the person is gonna say. You know, a lot of people that have trouble going to therapy, they'll say like, "Oh, I already know what the problem is," you know. But I feel even if that's the case, it's not a question of that. It's more a question of like, first of all, saying it out loud. You know.
Yeah, and I ask you that question because like sometimes people think that we do brain magic. It's like we do something. I don't I don't really do anything. I just help facilitate what's already going on in your head, and that you don't bounce it with someone. Okay.
But they're really good at being like I guess like a teammate or some sort of guidance and asking just the right questions so you look at the right place, you know? It's just the way I was even saying my stories. She was like, why do you say it like that?
Yeah, like the words that people use sometimes. Okay, for example, sex. Oh, I finished. That meaning like orgasm. But I'm like, why do you use the verb finish? Like, it doesn't mean that you do that. That is the end of something. Like, some years before, people would say, even before I was practicing, because I'm speaking to older sexologists, and they're like, there's been a change in vocabulary. People would say, I had an orgasm instead of saying I finished. So you understand what I mean?
Yeah, well, like there's like a certain like negative connotation to the word finished, basically.
No, not negative. It just means like as if to finish a sexual act, you need to come, but that like the guy comes. Okay?
Yeah.
So like as if the script of sexual, like what happens
intercourse, is already
like
written.
It finishes when the guy finishes. So like even the verb that people use,
It's
sometimes
interesting.
it's telling.
It's interesting.
Yeah, so you're like, your wife is not happy because she didn't finish.
Yeah,
Is that
exactly.
what she's telling me?
Yeah, exactly. And then they'll pull like sometimes.
It's like, oh.
So yeah, the questions that we ask.
What is like the number one issue that you have that you see within your clients?
What do you think? Yes.
I think it's for sure for the guys is pee don't work, and for the girls is like, yo, my vagina stank.
You think?
I think that's
Okay,
I
and
had
couples, what do you think it is? Okay, and what do you mean about PP don't work? Because that can mean a lot of things.
the guy's either stressed out or like
He has like erectile dysfunction.
yeah,
Basically.
yeah. But I think most of the times it's mental.
But I feel like if you have erectile dysfunction, are you gonna see a sexologist? Is that really where you should go, or should you go see a doctor?
I feel like if you believe it's psychological, I would go see maybe a sexologist or a therapist. But if you're convinced that it's mechanical, you go see a doctor.
I think we should ask the sexologist.
Okay.
Okay, but wait. Okay, before I answer that. So, and what do you, the woman, what do you think it's the most common
No.
issue?
Okay, the vaginas thing was a joke, but what I actually think women would go see a sexologist is something emotional. Wait.
Okay, you think about it. What do you think?
For men,
The most common issues.
I think men would be my wife told me to come here. That's number one.
Mm-hmm.
And then second number one for the women would be
I can't stop.
he just
eating.
doesn't seem to listen.
Yeah.
Or he doesn't seem to be into me anymore.
Okay, and couple, what do you think? Like when
I
couples
think we
come
always
into-
get into arguments.
Oh yeah, conflict
That's-
resolution. Yeah.
Yeah, conflict
You
resolution.
really think?
Yeah, couples has to be either conflict or like the problems of relationships becoming mundane after several years.
Oh yeah. Oh, you're pretty good. Okay, you're pretty good. So my PP don't work. Yeah, it's something about
guys?
their penis is either erection or ejaculation. Yeah, sometimes they went to see a urologist, and the urologist was like, "You don't have anything. Like, go see a sexologist." okay?
Wait. The guy will go see a urologist?
Yes, like I quite often get guys who already went to get like medically
yeah,
checked. Okay,
To
that's
check
it.
the mechanics and
Yeah,
the oil
exactly.
and everything.
And then the urologist is
yeah.
like, there's nothing there. Go see a sex therapist.
Right.
So yeah, the guys is that. But then you dig a little, okay? And for example, the guy he slept with someone and it didn't work that time, so he became super stressed and super hyper focused on his penis. So then he only thinks about it for the next several times. So he doesn't
Yeah,
become
yeah.
like in the moment. So all he thinks about is it gonna work? Is it gonna work? Is it gonna work? So that's like I call it the anxiety loop. Basically, you're not in the
Yeah,
moment.
yeah.
You're not there for your partner. Okay, you just think you're hyper focused on your penis, basically.
Yeah.
So that's performance anxiety. Okay, like that's really common for guys.
And that's like a word that's used for people that go on stage too.
Yeah,
like,
true.
You know?
Yeah.
Performance anxiety.
Because it's weird that sexuality is really linked to performance for a lot of people, men and women. Okay,
Yeah, but it's true because like girls, that's what you girls talk about when you're just with girls.
that's not true.
No, it's not like how was it? They don't say that to each other.
Yeah, but it's not like it's not that much like, oh, his penis was like this or like that. It's like
Nah.
it's way less. I think what you're saying is like what guys fear that girls talk about when they talk about with themselves.
Right,
you know,
right.
it's really never. It's not that much that.
Yeah.
It's more like he wasn't nice with me, or like he doesn't really care about. He doesn't ask what I like. Oh, we follow such just like this porno script, or it's more complex. It's just like he wasn't good with it. So there's that. For the women, it's they'll come and talk to me about, I don't really know my sexuality. Like I don't know what I like, what I dislike.
Interesting.
I've always done it like the guy want, basically. And for example, that's very typical. She started having sex at 16. 10 years later, she's like, oh, I don't really know what I like, because she's been having sex in like a very standard conventional way, which is doing like just following the guy, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's when like woman porno is starting to surface now.
A bit, because you can really see like you can really that's sad though. Like porn is such a massive scale conditioning, okay, that guys, and it's normal, like it saturates what you see, so then we integrate those messages of like this is what you're supposed to be like, and then we recreate that, men and women, we recreate that in the bedroom. It pleases the guys, let's say, okay, and the guys maybe think that the girls like that too. The girls even think they like that, and like when they're not that aware of themselves. 10 years later, for example, 26, 27, they come to a sexologist and they're like, oh, maybe I'm asexual. And I say like, are you asexual? Maybe. Or maybe you've never listened to yourself, and maybe you've just like followed someone else's preferences, basically.
Yeah.
And the couple, when you come and see me, yes, it's conflict, but it's low sexual desire.
Okay.
Like it's a discrepancy of low libido for one of the two.
Okay. I always was concerned about facing the mundane after years of being in a relationship with someone. And I read this article, and it was saying that one of the ways that a new trend that couples are following is to use, like, let's say you take a month, like 2 weeks you don't do no touchy, and 2 weeks you can touchy.
Okay.
Like 2 weeks, no affection. Like you're not allowed to touch your partner. And then 2 weeks you're allowed. So that like increases your desire in the 2 weeks. You're like, yo, I need some touchy affection.
It's crazy. Like it just comes back to you always want what you can't have. You know?
yeah.
It's like, bro, like I have a girlfriend. We've been together for like almost 6 years now. And when I leave town for a long time, or when she leaves town, because we're both touring musicians, so we don't see each other like that often, and we're away from each other for like weeks at a time sometimes. And it's crazy. Like the first day that I'm gone, I just miss her so terribly much, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Where like I have anxiety and then like it kind of like drops off like 4 days later because I'm kind of used to being alone, I guess, you know.
Yeah.
But 48 hours before leaving, like it's as if she wasn't there almost. It's because like it was all good. Like we were together, so.
Wait. 48 hours
48
before you
hours
leave?
before leaving, I was like,
No problem.
no problem. Maybe I could have been more affectionate or whatever, but it's like it's comme un peu comme it was like
So you didn't realize it. You were going to be away. Yeah.
Or like it's what you like I already have, right? Like I already have her, so I don't want her, you know?
But that's interesting what you're saying, because you're talking about distance basically. And coming back to what you said, like the 2 weeks, I'm like, I would like, I'm sorry, okay? Like you can try, okay?
Yeah.
But that's so like, it's so simple. It's like saying, oh, you have low sexual desire? Well, try to do it every day and then it'll come. I'm just like, that's so simple as a tip, okay?
Right.
So that tip trick, no, you could try it, but I'm like, I would never see me saying that to a client. The
Right.
thing about that though, that's interesting with what you said, this is distance, okay? So couples who live together and have been together for a long time, it's important to put back distance. For example, especially when they live together. So during the pandemic, I saw couples who were with each other all the time. So of course you don't have anything to miss. And it's not like they were going to work like before. Like you go to work during the day. When you come back, at least you have something to say to each other. Now with the pandemic, with lockdown, it wasn't that.
It's true.
And it's the thing is that when we live together, we become comfortable, which is super comfortable. But you have to put back distance. So sometimes I'll tell to some couples, okay, hey, why don't you go, especially new parents, I'm like, you need to go on a hike this weekend, not with your girlfriend. Or why don't you go with the boys for like a week in Cancun or something? And you don't have to do anything with your partner. So you have to put back distance in the same way almost when you were dating and when you were not living together, okay? It's not gonna be so comfortable in the beginning because it feels like you're distancing yourself, but no, that's active distance. When you're apart, you create something to miss each other.
Partir pour mieux revenir.
Why?
C'est
That's
ça.
cute. Yeah, that's cute. Okay, but that only applies to if there's no underlying issues like trust issues or
Right.
you know, like if I'm not gonna tell a couple, oh, put distance when I know that there's already like a big trust problem to that. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you think of polygamy? Do you think it's like do you see some clients sometimes that are actively polygamous or that are having troubles with the idea of polygamy?
So polygamy and polyamory, the difference is that polygamy is like men with a lot of one man with a lot of women. Polyamory, which people might have heard more recently, is like it doesn't.
Okay.
So that would be the difference. Yeah.
So yeah, polygamy is kind of like an old
It's
school,
an older,
almost like a institutional thing in certain countries.
It's
you know,
in certain countries or in Tiger King. Okay.
Yeah, Tiger King, exactly.
That's a polygamy.
Is it legal in the States to be polygamous?
That I have no idea about.
Because I feel like it's probably like a religious.
Certain Muslim countries.
Yeah, I know that in Algeria, for example.
You're allowed.
Legal.
Yeah.
I mean, my uncle has multiple wives.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, polyamory.
Polyamory is like it's not about like one man
It's
and several
open
women.
relationship
Yeah.
essentially.
Okay, and open and that's we're only talking about words here, but open relationship is like an umbrella term that can include polyamory. Polyamory is like amory. There's love in it. It's
Is
a
it amory or
relation.
emery? Amory?
Polyamour. How do you say that in English? Polyamour. Polyamory.
I'll look it up. But yeah, finish your
Polyamour.
thought.
I say I say it more often in French. Polyamorous is the word. There's the word amour in it. So they have like a web of love relationship. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Open relationship can just mean like you can just have like it doesn't.
Sex.
Yeah. It doesn't. It doesn't necessarily mean that you have like you develop relationship.
Right.
So
yeah,
polyamory and open relationship is two different things.
yeah, it's not. Some people will use it as a synonym, but it's not really a synonym. Okay, anyway, but that's just a bit technical. We do have a open relationship and polyamory clients, and it's just really interesting. So again, no judgment. The thing though is when people tell me they tell me about their couple, their two, and they have problems, so they open their relationship, and I'm like, that's like having a baby.
Yeah.
That's because you're not able to talk about, like, it's difficult talking about sex issues with your partner. You're shy. You don't know how it's going to go. So then they say like, oh, maybe we should open the couple. Me, I'm like, wow, okay, you try. Go. Okay, try and I'll see you back.
Because you don't want to tell them not to do it?
It's not me. Like, I don't, as a therapist,
Yeah.
that's my vibe. I don't tell people what to do.
Yeah.
That my job is to just accompany them, okay?
Accompany them, yeah.
They'll do whatever they want because I'm like, who am I? I'm not the expert of them. I'm the expert of the process. So I'm just there to be like, okay, why do you want to open your relationship? Pros and cons. Okay, you do it and you try. And we'll see if it works. But often when I see that the couple wasn't strong to begin with,
Yeah.
like for me,
Don't
open
break.
relationship is a gift for couples who have it like pretty much figure it out. Trust, communication.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when these two things are not there,
Yeah.
it's like having a baby when it's not working.
So it's safe to say that like polyamorous couples are like the supreme version of a relationship because they have it all figured out
Like
in a certain sense.
yeah, like sur papier, yes, okay. Sur papier,
On paper.
on paper, but in the reality, sometimes, and it's normal. Like one of the person involved is gonna feel a certain way while they try it, because we all have attachment issues. We all have a past. It's difficult. Like sometimes we're like, oh, I really believe in this idea. Like nobody belongs to anybody. There's no like hierarchy of relationships. Okay, let's do this, and then they do it. And sometimes they're like, oh, yeah, it's harder to apply
it's
than there's
in
a difference.
practice
Yeah,
than in theory.
yeah.
Have
Exactly.
you met like these like super love humans that just have love for like a lot of different humans and they're capable of like loving a lot of people?
Oh, what's that term? I've never heard. I've never heard.
No,
of
well,
that.
I just made it up.
Oh, okay. I thought it was a real term.
No. It's like a super love human. You know the people that just
Yeah.
sexually active. They have a lot of love for a lot of people. There's sexual beings.
Yeah.
But they're legit able to love a lot of
Scorpios.
people.
You tell me about. I do have one person that comes to mind, and that person is polyamorous, and it's really like that person has deconditioned themselves of a lot of things in society that we
Think
live
is
by.
normal.
Yeah, and I that person really opened up my
Your eyes.
my eyes, and like she would tell me there's no. Okay, for example, she would explain to me what's her vision of polyamory, and I'm like, oh, but even me, for example, that I'm not polyamorous. Sorry, let me take that again. She's like, so there's like she has a lot of relationships, okay, and she was trying to explain it to her partner, and then the way that she explained it, she's like, but my partner, they're also in a polyamorous relationship. Like they put their job before me. They're in a relationship with their job. And I was like, interesting, because yeah, we are in a relationship with other things or like people, and we do put some of them before. For example, a person, they have to take care of their grandmother. Okay, the partner is like, well, she spends a lot of time with the grandmother, and I don't want to like. There's family, of course, but it's almost like a polyamorous relationship because that person would like put the grandmother in front of every priority. So then it's interesting. The idea that even if we don't consider ourselves polyamorous, maybe we live our life polyamously with our job, with our children, because we put other people before, and we are intertwined in a web of relationship. Okay,
Netflix,
or
computer games,
yeah.
YouTube.
So
YouTube.
okay, it's a bit far fetched the way that I'm saying. Okay, but like the idea that like there's even when people don't say they're polyamorous, we are in like we give time and energy to things or people that are just sometimes not our romantic partners, but like the way that we put it in our life,
There's no more time for the partner
Yeah.
in question, because it's all really a question when you think of it of time. You know, you only have certain hours in a day. If you, in theory, you have a girlfriend, but you have a 9 to 5, and then, for example, you have to take care of family, and then you come back home and on the weekends you go to the bar with the boys, then your girlfriend is not actually a girlfriend. She's just on paper a girlfriend.
Exactly. And when you said, you're afraid of like going to the mundane after years of relationship, I tell people that honestly, it's everything in sexology or like the secret of your sex life. It's not super exciting. It's like make time for it. Make time for it. It doesn't happen naturally, or it does only in the beginning of relationship, because when you're first in love, when you just met someone, sex is easy. Relationship is easy because there's like a cocktail of hormones in your brain. So you don't have to work for anything. But when those cocktail of hormones fade off, then you have to work. You're like, oh, we have to manage our conflict. Oh, sex life is not as natural, as organic as it was before. And the mistakes that some people do is that when those cocktails of hormones or just time fades off, they think, oh, maybe it's a sign we're not meant to be together. That's not it. It's that you were high, basically. Like your brain was high on love. Okay. And after, that's the hard part. You have to work for it. Okay. So
once people realize how scary it is to be alone, like you realize that it's worth it to put a bit of effort in a relationship, you know? Because sometimes I feel the same way. Because Sam is single. I have a girlfriend. And sometimes, Sam is like, yo, it must be so nice to have a girlfriend. And sometimes I tell Sam, like, the single life comes with its pros and its cons.
Yeah.
And I feel like biologically humans are not meant to be alone. So
no, you don't think that's a fact.
That's a fact.
Like that's a fact. Like we live in a society that really glamorizes independence. Okay.
Yeah.
But I'm like, but independence, it's like that's just something we made up and we try to like live up to. But like if we really were independent, we wouldn't thrive and survive as a species. Okay.
Exactly.
And like dependence is like it's a biological truth. It's not it's not a weakness. We are dependent on other human being. For example, if we were in a relationship, in a loving relationship, like just being in a relationship, a healthy relationship, it increases your life expectancy.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. You could see it in countries like Italy and France and proche la Méditerranée, that like there's the family unit is so, plus the diet is great. People live like way longer,
Yeah.
Apparently it's equivalent to like smoking cigarettes for your whole life if you live lonely.
Yeah, so. Yeah, and I'm really interested in the topic of loneliness, okay? And just so like it's been studied, having a marriage increases your life expectancy only if the marriage is healthy. If the marriage is unhealthy and like full of conflict, then it decreases because
stressful.
It's stressful. And then you have like all these stress hormones that are making your immune system weaker, basically.
Yeah.
Okay. So that's crazy when you think about it.
Also, what was I was gonna say? When people like are married for the whole life, they've loved each other for the whole life, and one of them dies of old age, whatever. The other one
dies
soon after, bro.
Yeah, it just drops.
I'm not sure if it's just like a par hasard because they're both very old, but like, or if there's a correlation there to be had, or like a causation. I mean. But it's super interesting.
No, but definitely. They've also done study. For example, let's say we're again in a healthy relationship. They'll do an experiment on you. They'll inject some sort of stress. Okay. If I'm holding your hand, your body reacts. Your body is soothed by the presence. In the presence of your partner. So it's crazy when you just holding hand with your partner decreases your stress level. Like think about it. And that's why it's so important to have a healthy relationship. And sometimes my job as a sexologist is to help people break up. Because I'm like, you're putting too much stress on your body right now, and your body and your heart and your mind. But think about all the conflicts that you're going through. Yeah.
Do you have like a really beautiful woman approach you and have this sort of like choice paralysis when it comes to like choosing a mate, where they're getting an abundance of messages and like.
Yeah, I get that. I like to talk about. So okay, my favorite topics as a sociologist, okay, is breaking up.
Dump his ass, okay? Dump his ass.
Yeah, breaking up.
Yeah. She's like the best friend. Like
breaking up, then lonely. Because I'm like, you need to free yourself from the shackles of those relationships for you to find the love of your life.
Beautifully said. And it comes with a lot of sadness, and it's not easy,
And I'm not there like dump him, dump her. I'm not like that. I'm just like, wow. Like, first of all, tell me about the relationship, okay? And then, have you noticed that this or that, it's like you deserve better, you know? So my favorite topics, breakup, then loneliness, okay? Because of like, oh my God, I'm going to die alone. And then dating, on dating apps and all that. And then like the beginning of relationship was like super, there's a lot of anxiety there. Okay, so those are like the continuity of my favorite topics. And I do have women who come to talk to me about dating, okay? Do they say like, oh, I have too many choices? Not really. They say like, oh my God, I don't know who to trust. I don't know how to trust my judgment. Is this person going to play me? Or so it's not like oh my God, I have too much choice. It's not that, you know. And most of the time, people are like, men or women, they're like, I don't know what he or she's gonna think about me. Am I not beautiful enough, cool enough, intelligent enough? Maybe
self-worth.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
It's like maybe I'm not making enough money. I'm not successful enough. He or she's so this, that, you know?
Yeah, I think society also has like ingrains a lot of bad ideas into, I think, men and women. Like for me in my 20s, I was like, yo, I have to become successful to get women. Like I legit had that in my mind, you know?
It's kind of true though.
It's kind of true.
In a way, because
it is true.
It's like being able to pull your own weight. In a relationship.
But
like
financially also, because the thing is, men on a surface level would judge women for being quote unquote, let's say, gold diggers. Okay.
Yeah.
But the thing is, she's taking a biological risk by sleeping with you. Like in case she gets impregnated, she needs to know that you have a job, so we could take care of the kid. You know. So it's not necessarily gold digging. It's just like, if ever we were to get a kid, somebody needs to pay the hydro, you know?
It's kind of like it's like realistic. It's being realistic.
But it's also very logical. It's like it's been documented. Most of the time, people end up with a partner with the same level of beauty, same level of intelligence, and same socioeconomical background, okay? So it's just logical. As when you look around you, okay, most of the time, you won't find someone who comes from a very poor background with like aristocracy, like you know, like
royalty,
it happens
whatever.
one at a time. Okay, like and then we see movies about it, but like most of the time around us, you'll see doctors with doctors, lawyers with like pharmacists, or like workers.
It's kind of like that show there on Netflix.
Which
it's
one?
like the Down syndrome.
yeah.
What is it called again?
Love on a Spectrum, and it's autism.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Autism.
how dare you?
Just a spectrum of autism. Yeah. But exactly. Like find your match. You know.
Yeah, and when people like, it's not about gold digging. It's just like I do get some women, okay, who are they have their life together basically, okay, and then they go on they're dating, and the guy's maybe not that much. Maybe he's more like a bro, but he's like 32.
Yeah, you could say he's a broke fuckboy.
Yeah, and like and then the women are like, is this like what's the problem? Is it me? Is it? And then it's just logical. Why would you want someone who's more like a child man or a child woman, let's say? Okay. Why would you want someone that you have to take care of, almost like a teenager? Like pulling your own weight. I like that. It's not just for like women to guys. It's also the opposite. But yeah, it's just logical. You want someone who's your level.
Yeah, exactly.
Basically.
For sure.
Do you feel like some women are not taking accountability in the sense that, like, I feel like women, when they go seek out advice with other women, it's very just words of encouragement. Oh no, you're a boss bitch.
Yeah.
You're, like, you don't need a man. You just go to yoga, girl. This and that. Whereas guys, it's like, if I have issues, Adele would be like, yo, you're a piece of shit. Like, this is what you need to work on. Like, you know what I mean? Like guys will give it to me like raw, be like, this is where you're slipping up. Whereas, like, I don't know if girls have that, because it's very like sheltering their emotions and making sure that they're getting nurtured emotionally and like, everything's gonna be okay.
Yeah.
That's an interesting point.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Do you see that or no?
No,
you don't see that? Okay.
Because the thing that you're describing, I see that in the movies. Okay.
Maybe that's where I got it from.
Yeah, like that's how we portray. That's how we portray like female friendship. Okay.
Yeah.
And it does happen, but like when I look at all of my clients, they have smart
Friends.
girlfriends.
Yeah.
Basically.
A lot of times they're smart.
But I don't know. Maybe I'm like, there is this selection bias because people who come to see me, I think they're smart.
Exactly.
Okay, so I'm like,
exactly.
maybe people that don't come to see me, that go to therapy, maybe they don't have that self-awareness to
to be like,
maybe, and then it reflects in the group friends that they have. Okay, because if you go, but I'm sure some people are like that. It's just I don't meet them, I don't talk to them. But yeah, like let's say a girl goes on a date and it doesn't go well, whatever, and then she'll go to her friend, and her friend will only be like, "Yeah, it wasn't you, it was him." I'm like, Yeah, I know what you mean, but I don't encounter people like that.
Right,
Because
right.
people
I-
that I see always like they're
I feel
self-aware.
you could also see it the other way around. You probably have men who are
Yeah,
obviously
For sure,
shitty
for
friends.
sure,
You know
for
what I'm
sure,
saying?
Yeah, I'd be like, oh no, she's too.
Yeah,
She's too
exactly.
needy or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah,
But
yeah.
maybe like, oh, is she too needy, or are you not able to sustain or like being consistent or
Yeah, exactly.
or like doing the bare minimum?
Yeah. How do you deal with incels? Like guys who call you and who are just like, yo, I can't get a girl to just say hi back to me.
Yeah, incels are so interesting. They don't really end up in therapy to begin with.
They end up on chat
Reddit.
rooms. Yeah.
They end up on Reddit. Okay.
And yeah.
Funny, not funny, but not funny. But incels really interest me as a topic because it like the whole, like my favorite topics. Then you take a subgroup of people who like had bad experiences and who do feel lonely. Okay, and then they seek refuge in a community online, and then they all. Like the girls that you were telling, like, oh, girl, go yoga.
Yeah,
Like
they do that
incels, that's what
incel
they
edition.
do. Like,
Yeah.
so, and I'm like, I did meet one guy who was like in were the beginning stages, but they still could catch themselves starting to become misogyne and things like that. So they knew that they were starting to slip into that. But once they're into that, like they're not gonna go see a girl in therapy.
Yeah,
Okay?
it's true.
And then they have like this sort of like very black and white thinking and like almost violent, like women are like this or like they did this to me. But it happens the same like there's femcels too. Okay.
Oh yeah,
there's
there's
femcels.
femcels.
There's actually a lab research in sexology that studies that. Okay, they study femcels and incels, and they do end up. It's just sad when you think about it.
So
It's like it's lonely people to start with who
bad experiences.
who ended up in a spiral basically.
They have too
okay?
much of a good internet connection. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
They have
and,
too much
and
of a good
then,
internet connection and they're banging those comments.
and then it's a catch-22 and they like
Yeah,
they
exactly.
just like find a community of bros or girls and then it's just like it's a pity party
right.
and how do you like
Yeah.
Pity parties, man.
What toxic ideologies do you see in the whole feminist movement? Is there something you see? You're like, girls, stop saying that. Like, do you see any?
it's
Like
the problems
fallacies.
of this the problems of that I only see it online.
Yeah, I was
Like in real life, like for example, in real life, I'm in sexology. I studied at UQAM, which is known to be like a progressive university. I've never met someone who was like an extremist. Okay, so when people ask me, I'm like, you spend too much time. You spend too much time online. Like I've never been, like I'm in the leftist, like my friends are leftists and all that.
Yeah.
But I'm like, it's they're really like we're all reasonable.
Yeah.
Okay, it's not
Right,
like
right.
the only problems that I've seen are online people,
true.
like Instagram and the things that they say. It's like when we talk about the feminist movement, it's like saying the green movement. Okay, do you recycle? If you recycle, I can say like, oh my god, you are such a freaking intense eco. But like
Yeah.
there's like on the feminist movement, there's people who are like me, and there's people who like they'll go naked and be
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
you'll liberate.
Yeah.
So like there's a spectrum. Like if you
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
recycle, but if you chain yourself naked to a tree, you're also in the same spectrum. Okay.
Yeah.
So like people need to stop spending so much time online and like
Online.
they need to go talk to people.
Right. Yeah.
People-
Yeah.
Because we were saying
we
that.
need more of that.
We were saying that like in real life, people and nobody's gonna like go like
Extreme.
in front of a hot girl and be like, yo, heart emoji, sexy girl. You know what I'm saying? They all like hide behind a keyboard. You know?
Yeah.
But something I was talking about we talked about this on the podcast where we're like a lot of things are happening online that aren't happening in reality. Like all these extreme radical positions, they only seem to live online for some reason. But
Yeah.
then but this leads me to talk to you about what's happening in the digital world with like online dating and like Instagram and whatnot. Tinder recently came out with a new update. Obviously, after I deleted it, where essentially you could meet up for events on the app. Whereas like, hey, I'm going to Oshiaga, I'm looking for a crew. And you could swipe for like crews and like hang out as a team and like go and like meet people in a more organic social
Oh,
way.
that's not crazy.
Yeah.
not
That's actually a
crazy.
good idea.
That's a really good idea.
Because it's less stressful than in one-on-one.
Yeah.
And then you get to see the person in
a
a
In a
group.
context.
social setting.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it is so the CEO, which is a lady now for the first time in Tinder history, the CEO is a lady boss, is a boss lady, independent, bad bitch. And she decided, yo, we're gonna do like social event groups because Tinder, I believe, was dying down because I think for the most part, well, for me at least, it's just something you did when you were bored at home before passing out. And I think that everybody needs a bit of validation, girls and guys, and you're just swiping for that and to get a little buzz of like, ooh, this person thinks I'm hot. I think they're hot.
And it does give us a buzz.
It does give
Like,
a buzz,
it does
but
give a
Huge buzz.
but I catch myself in my last stretch of my Tinder career being like, I have no desire to chat or go out and meet.
It's called dating fatigue. It's a real thing.
Yeah. I had no desire anymore.
And everybody tells me that. So I'm like, dating apps are useful in a way, okay? Like it does fill a need, a very modern need of like us being busy and meeting people. So it's good because it makes us meet people that we wouldn't have met. Okay.
Yeah, it's very like powerful tool.
It's not evil, okay? It's not evil, but it can become evil in the sense of like what you're telling me. You're fed up. You're tired. You don't have energy. You do it when you're like at the end of the day. Then maybe you go on a date and you're like, okay. And then you go to maybe a couple of days and you're not feeling more inspired by it. So it's just like it becomes like a chore for some people. But and the idea of like going on the social event, that's not crazy at all. Like it's
yeah. That's cool. It's cool that they added that feature. But I noticed myself gravitating or even having like girls like me more like in person than online. Like if I split all my situationships in half and I'm like online girls, they don't exist in my life anymore. Every girl that I actually met in real life and I made the effort of like going and talk to them and whatnot, they're still like somewhat like commenting on my Instagram or like they're still kind of
in your life.
Yeah. Somewhat. But because there's a respect and there's a connection there. You know what I mean? Whereas like online girls, as soon as like the first problem emerges, it's like we ghost each other.
Yeah, exactly. That's
the common team.
Yeah.
Online.
Well, you have nothing invested, right?
Yeah, you have nothing invested, and it's like as soon as there's a problem, ghost. It's the ghost
town.
Ghost town.
It's very interesting.
You wouldn't know about that.
I've never used Tinder in my life.
Yeah.
Something that's interesting is I feel like for a woman to be hit on, there's something, if it's done with like, respect and everything, there's something very like
beautiful about it, Yeah, that's the thing.
Online
like,
or offline?
Offline.
Yeah.
Offline.
Online is creepy. Online for the most part is creepy.
Online,
like
you can shoot your shot in the DMs. It could work if you're funny or whatever. And if you have a very nice window of digital pictures of yourself and like
the branding's on point.
The marketing has to be on point. That's why I tell guys, I'm like, get good at marketing online or talk to girls in person. But in person, you have to be hella suave because a lot of girls, a lot of girls, they'll press the freak button, like, oh yo, he's a freak or whatever.
Depends on the context.
It depends on the
really
context.
Depends on
But like I said, you have to be like suave. You have to be like really
pretty confident.
Confident too.
Like going to talk in real life to someone, it takes a lot of courage.
Because,
like
and girls don't realize, but sometimes we're like stunned by the beauty. Like sometimes I'm just walking and then out of nowhere there's an angel in front of me. Yeah, there's an angel in front of me, like walking on the street, like with like perfect hair, like in a dress, in a sundress, like smelling good, like strawberries. And I'm just like, whoa. Yeah, I'm just like, whoa.
Same happens to girl. Okay.
Yeah.
Just so you know, sometimes
is that how you felt when I walked in?
Like, oh my god, who's gone?
Oh my god, I'm not sure I could do this.
No, but it's the same. Like sometimes sometimes I talk to girls, okay, and guys, I'm like, you talk of the other sex like they're aliens. They feel this. Okay, so for example, earlier when you talk about like, do you have like hot girls who come and tell you like hot girls? They don't realize. Well, first of all, they don't realize they're hot. They're so insecure. They're like, oh, is he going to think I'm this? I'm like, the guy. He's also thinking the same thing. He's like, she's so beautiful. She's so sociable. She's so cool. She's like, her career's on point. Does she think that I'm up? So we tend to forget that whatever insecurities we have, the other person has the same. Okay.
It just goes to show how like disconnected we are between men and women.
Really.
We have no sense of empathy. Like we can't even imagine that they're going through the same thing. Right?
Exactly. So then like I say this, anxiety makes us self-centered. Okay, like we see someone so beautiful and we're like, oh my god, am I this? Is that? The other person might think the same thing too. Okay, you're there with your group of.
It's true because the baddie doesn't see the baddie. She's seeing through her eyeballs.
Like,
She's
let's
not
say,
like, oh, I'm a baddie.
no, you go somewhere, you're with your boys, okay?
Yeah,
The
yeah.
girl's gonna think like, oh no, that's too intimidating. Like Sam is with like this guy's with like a lot of guys. I'm not gonna. She's not gonna come and talk to you.
For
It's
sure.
so
And I'm
intimidating.
not going to do it too.
Okay, so there's like these two
Yeah,
like
yeah.
people are not gonna.
But it's so weird because I was thinking about this and I'm like, when I'm with my guy friends, I don't want to approach because it's too like intimidating. You're like 4 guys.
Yeah, and then the girl knows.
the
so
girls- yeah,
so
the-
then she's thinking maybe like, oh, is it like a prank, or maybe he's trying to like show that he's
Yeah.
Yeah,
you know.
yeah. There's that. But then when you're alone, you're like, I look like a creep.
Yeah, I understand.
You know what I mean? So it's like extremely confusing. That's why like and also with girls, it's crazy because I've had like girls like staring at me. I'm like, yo, this girl's checking me out.
Okay.
And like I'm like, yo, for sure she's staring at me. She
Okay.
keeps looking at me. Okay, that's the third
The
time she
window.
looks at me.
Okay.
I'm like, this is my window.
Okay.
And then I go, I'm like, hey, what's up? She's like, I have a boyfriend. and then,
Okay.
and then I have girls like no eye contact. Okay,
Yeah.
there was a scene where it happened at the springtime. There's like a girl sitting across the bar, like this, and it's like a square bar, right? And then the bartender makes them move like somewhat closer, okay? And then she's giving me no eye contact, and I'm
Okay.
like, yo, that girl's so pretty, man. She's beautiful. She had these secretary glasses and everything. The bartender makes them move right next to me, and I'm like, I said something along the lines of are you girls trying to move closer to us in purpose? And it went from like this girl giving me zero eye contact, zero clues to like we spent the whole night together. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then we had like a blast.
That's so interesting.
So I've had like girls give me 0
Mm-hmm.
signals to we kick it off to girl giving me full on signals to like who the fuck are you? You know what I mean? So I think that's where like a lot of guys are confused because they're just like, yo, I don't get it.
I don't know what to do. The thing about seduction, okay, is like it takes a lot of it's a skill. Like we're not born knowing how to date, knowing how to do seduce or flirt, and it for guys and girls. Because you talk about guys and like, but the same for women. Okay, I tell people you need to develop you need to know how to read someone verbally, non-verbally, and also before even talking about seduction, I'll talk about how do you interact with people. If you don't have friends, if you're so awkward that you can talk to like your neighbor, I'm not gonna send you like you're not ready to date.
Yeah, you're not able to go to a
Yeah.
Like
bar
and like you don't need to
chat.
think of like a pickup line. That's me, okay? Like I'm like, you don't need to think of a pickup line. Just start a conversation with that person. Maybe she has someone, maybe she doesn't. You don't know, but start a conversation and that's it. Okay. And then
Yeah.
context is important. Bar, club, okay. Coffee shop, it really depends. It really depends. But like when you're waiting for like maybe when you're in the metro, maybe not. Maybe she's
Yeah.
not like maybe she's going to be like too like surprised.
stunned. Yeah,
It's
yeah.
stunned. So maybe she's not going to be open. Like the receptiveness is not going to be the same, right? When she's working, maybe not. It really depends, right? So I tell the people before talking about seduction, like maybe incels, it's like the way that they enter relationship, like social relationship, it's so awkward. It's so like they haven't had a lot of practice because online doesn't give you practice in doing that.
No, it
okay.
doesn't. But yeah, like this is a piece of advice I would have as now a very trained sexologist.
Yeah.
My advice would be not kidding. My advice would be like talk to everyone.
Yeah, no,
And
no.
speak to him with no like sexual like
Exactly.
innuendo. Like
Yeah,
speak to him
exactly.
as if you were speaking to a friend.
No,
Yeah.
exactly.
Or just another human.
Yeah,
you know?
yeah.
That's legit like a homework I gave to someone. I was like, that person, I know he's super sweet. I know, like I know him now, okay? But I'm like, you need to talk to everyone. Everyone, because you need to just you
Break
need
your
to
social ice.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Instead
yeah,
of be
yeah.
like, hey, hi, what's your name?
Yeah.
Do you have a boyfriend?
Yeah,
How old
yeah,
are you? I'm
that's
like, no,
super
don't. I'm
awkward,
like, dude,
yeah.
don't do that.
Yeah,
don't
do
not
that
do
shit.
that.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I mean, you need to talk to everyone at your job, at the bank, you need to just start practicing
Yeah.
being
Yeah.
just yeah,
And
with no intentions of like
yeah.
you know.
Yeah, that's the practice that I implemented into my own life.
It
I
starts like
just
that.
talk to everyone, and I'm not like, okay, like before when I was in my early 20s, I was just dumb. You know, I
Yeah.
was just like, let me just talk to like the cute girl, and let me
Exactly.
talk to like the guys who look cool,
Yeah,
like the
yeah,
cool guys
true,
only. So
true,
I was
true.
like discriminating in my own
True,
head,
true.
being a little judgmental, little fucking asshole.
Yeah.
And then recently, like in the past like 5 years, I'm like, yo, just talk to everyone.
Yeah,
so I'm
bro,
like,
everybody's so beautiful,
everyone.
especially when you grow up and you see like a lot of like people that you would have considered like a nerd in
Yeah,
high school.
yeah.
Yeah.
Super successful.
Yeah.
Like smart.
I went to my 10-year graduation
Yeah.
ceremony, whatever.
High school, yeah.
High school, and it was amazing to see all the people that like I was an asshole to. Like they're like designing games at Ubisoft.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah,
and I
yeah.
just like I went up to him, I'm like, I'm so happy for you. And I just want to say I'm sorry for like
That you were a
being
bully?
dick.
Yeah. I was never the worst bully, but I was
Yeah.
the kind of guy that was cool, friends with the cool people,
Yeah.
and that was gonna tag along. But
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
school and social pressure will make you do the weirdest
Yeah, yeah,
things,
yeah.
man. Especially when,
It does.
like we were saying, the hormone cocktail, like in your brain, you don't really know what to think of it. You're a horny, aggressive little boy, like you don't really know how to.
Yeah.
But I like that what you're being real when you say like that you used to only talk to the cute girls and the cool guys because a lot of people do that, and I'm like,
Yeah.
you need to talk. Like, just be curious. Be curious of everybody. You don't know.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think one thing that society did that fucked up a lot of brains is like the whole idea of high value men and women.
Yeah, tell me about that.
Well, I feel like obviously we're like these animals on a social hierarchy,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And everybody's trying to move up the hierarchy, whether it's your job, whether it's even this podcast, we're trying to get
Social
bigger
status,
numbers. Yeah,
clout.
everybody's trying to go up, right?
Nobody's trying to go down.
So the idea of like talking to someone who you deem to be less than, or even a girl who's not so pretty, or a guy who's not so cool, is like something you wouldn't go out of your way to do. You know what I mean? But I think there's a lot of value in getting to know a lot of different humans, and I think the whole idea of like really have this rigid idea of I'm only gonna talk to high status men or high status women is a toxic way of thinking.
100.
Yeah, really, because like when you say high value, what's the value? Like
Yeah,
the
yeah,
value
what-
for women is a beauty, and the value for guys is what's like professional success.
I think a bit of, I mean, both, they
you
both
know?
go both ways, you know?
On a surface level, I think a society does look at it that way, you know, or at least tries to condition us
Yeah.
to look at it that
Yeah,
way.
yeah, true, and that's sad.
Mm-hmm.
Like that's sad because so many people.
But are we just saying this right now as a sort of like virtue signaling?
I know what you mean.
And do we actually behave that way also, all of us outside of this podcast?
I can just talk about myself. It's
Right.
like if. Yeah, I think I'm a good therapist because I am genuinely curious about what everybody, like when you dig a little. Okay, first of all, when you dig a little, and when people open up to you, it's because you've set the tone of something that's like non-judgmental and they just chill and like they feel like they can
Exactly.
open up to you. Okay, and if I only did that with like the people I thought were cool or could, you know, like they were connected, who could get me into this opportunity or were beautiful, I would have limited myself so much because I've been surprised a lot of times in my life with the travels I did, or with the people I met, with my job and not with my job. For example, like you, okay? I could have been like, oh, who's this? Like when you reach out to me on LinkedIn, I could have been like, oh no, this guy's just trying to like use me and my time and like to get his like, you know, it's not like that. It's like, I know I'm just curious, you know? And then when you go on these dates or you meet people, not even on dates, it's there's a surprise there. Okay. So I think what I urge people is to have have people positive intent, like
Yeah.
positive intent, like assume positive intent. Okay.
Comme I like to say, cherche pas pour les problèmes. Tu sais?
Ouais.
Like, just because if you see your life through that scope of
Exactly.
negativity,
Exactly.
you know, you attract that kind of
Yeah.
behavior, you know?
Yeah.
And there's like always two ways, you know, like in the same way beauty is in the eye of the beholder, like reality is in the eye of the beholder as well.
True,
like if
true.
you see life to be a certain way, then it's going to be that way. You know what
True.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
See the good in people. Don't think that people are always out to get you. And I feel that's a huge part of social anxiety is because you're convinced that people are judging you or have ill will towards you or things like that, you know? Love is a powerful thing.
If people listen to us and they're like they recognize themselves as being like they're always negative and pessimist and they think people are like have bad intentions always, I'm like, honestly, go see someone because it's like things have happened to you that made you that way. Okay, and it's a catch-22 again because then probably some things have happened, people become like this, but then because you give off this vibe, people don't want to reach out and like connect with you and like have social ties with you. So then like you become like you dig yourself even deeper. So
I feel it's a very common problem, especially with women. It's like self-doubt or like just I don't know, just because of the image that is portrayed in society. Like a lot of like, you know, for example, my girlfriend, she's beautiful, but like, you know, she goes through the same problem a lot of women go through, like
body image,
body positivity, like not body positivity, body image, or just like self-doubt. She's a singer as well, and that's I feel like we all have like our self-doubt and stuff, but there's only so much I could say.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. That's
There's
gonna
only
help.
so much I could say that, and then when you hear the same thing from the person that loves you the most, does it really mean that much? You know what I'm saying? Like, you're the most beautiful person, but like, yeah, but we're together, ça fait 6 ans. Like, I want, maybe like a therapist, if they could probably really help you on that level, like probably give you the kind of advice that they went to school for. You know what I'm saying? I feel I should go see a therapist.
Yeah. Do you have a coupon code for?
No, therapists were not allowed to do any couponing or stuff like that.
Oh yeah.
But
shoot.
BetterHelp,
Yeah.
they I feel have
Maybe.
coupons.
I
or-
just want to say, okay, BetterHelp, if they do things like that, is because they don't pay their therapist that much.
Yeah.
So, like, the therapists who do sign up on BetterHelp, what kind of therapists are they? Are
Yeah,
they
yeah,
newly
yeah.
grad? Are they like not filling up their schedule? So if you get the help that you like, if as long as it's helpful, okay. But think about like, because that's another topic that's not really to this, but like BetterHelp and things like that. It's like that's like the Uber of therapy. Okay. So like just think about which kind of therapist goes on those platforms.
And how do they certify? Like, imagine I sign up to be a therapist on BetterHelp. Like,
You have to send them a selfie of you and your diploma.
It's it's like American. I think they take American therapists, and then like what kind of like it's
But it could.
it's à la carte. So how much can you build a rapport with that therapist and the therapeutic alliance? That's what helps. So as long as it's helpful, okay. But yeah, but don't think about like changing therapists. That's not the goal. Is to not change therapists every week. Basically.
What do you think about the idea of the government just sponsoring therapists for everyone?
Yeah, that would be the
Best thing
Like
for society,
covered
no?
by insurance,
By-
basically?
covered by insurance.
Yeah. They should just put it on the tab, bro. Like at this point,
or just the idea of like couponing is like, why would people not want to pay their therapist?
Yeah. It's like the most
It's like-
important thing.
And like for example, in Quebec, it's like from 100 to 150. People are like, oh, it's so expensive. I'm like, yeah, but that doesn't. I don't have like $100 that goes straight in my pocket.
Yeah,
like
exactly.
I am a freelancer.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
Like so take 30% for taxes. For impôt, okay,
and then income taxes.
yeah, exactly. So it's
and
like
you hydro and it's gone.
Yo, you got sales tax. Well, sales taxes you have to charge on top, so it doesn't really count.
no,
Then you have
because
the income
I
tax.
include it in my.
Okay, so yeah,
So you
so-
see the price, and then I'm
boom.
gonna be like plus tax. So I just include it. So it's like
Okay, that's because you're nice.
yeah, it's
Best
true.
therapist
true,
in Montreal, guys.
true.
Come on.
So I don't want them to think like
Yeah.
So like, how can I say? Therapy, the idea of therapy not being affordable, it's because people are not. We're not used to investing there. Okay, then I'm not talking about people who earn like 20K a year. Okay, I'm not talking about these people. Even if it was free, I would say that even if it was free, that's an approach. Okay, some therapists were like, no, the client has to pay. Okay, because the client has to invest whatever amount. Okay,
I
it can be, for example, it can be like $40. If $40 is worth something for that person, when we were working in like when we're working in a context where it's free for the clients they
Don't take it seriously.
they bail, or it's not like, oh, I'll try, I'll see, I'll get a checkup for my head. So it really has to do with the investment,
Yeah, of
what there was
course.
represent.
Of
Okay,
course.
I'm not saying they have to pay $200 or for $40. It like, what is an investment for that person? Okay?
So they actually take it seriously and they don't just see it as like a friendly relationship. If you could just go talk to somebody because it's provided by the government, you know?
Yeah,
You
Exactly.
actually owe it to yourself to work on yourself. You know
And
what I'm
also
saying?
like the money exchange is important because it's not an equal relationship. For example, one friend, he's a psychologist, and when he was in a university, he went to a free program. Okay, and then he was like, because I didn't pay, I felt like I couldn't tell her that she disappointed me or that she said something that I agreed. She felt because he didn't pay that like he owed it to her.
Yeah.
You know? So I'm like, that's why money is important. It's like you are the client, you pay me to work for you.
it's a service. I'm giving, yeah.
So-
Yeah, it's a service.
Yeah. Also like
You're invested.
Anyway.
You're invested
Yeah.
though in the treatment. It's like I'm gonna put money and I'm invested in this process.
and it's yours. It's yours. Like you can tell me if I say something that you don't like or
exactly. It's kind of like, for example, when somebody...
you don't feel in debt. Like when
yeah,
you pay,
exactly.
it's like it doesn't, you don't feel in debt.
Yeah, exactly. The client feels like he could, like you said, say if something didn't go well or whatever. Whereas if it was free, same thing for like when I'm like
You'd feel
producing a
bad or-
song or like
Oh, yeah.
mixing a song. If I do it like I used to, for example, for a friend, I used to be like, okay, for free, just give me points on the song. But the song's not going to stream anyway, so it's not going to make any money. But like now, I just like, if I'm doing a favor for a friend, I would rather charge a symbolic price, $100,
Yeah.
for example, to at least know that like just for the song to be better as well, you know? Because the person's gonna feel like they're more invested in the song, they could have
true.
better feedback, and at the end of the day, the songs is just gonna be better. Whereas if I do it for free, it just seems like a favor more than a service, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I need to go do pee-pee.
Me too. I need a pee-pee break.
Okay, let's just do a 5-minute pee-pee break.
5-minute pee-pee break.
And then we could probably go on for like another. We have a couple more questions for you.
Yeah,
Ça va prendre genre quoi?
And I have an
20
article.
ans?
I have an article to show her.
Okay, super.
Oh yeah, that article is interesting.
Like incels, we know because they do like things, and then we hear about it on the news. So they exteriorize their behavior. Femcels, they'll interiorize, so it becomes depression, anxiety. So they don't pose like a public threat. Femcels, okay. And yeah,
So I guess we could define a femcel as somebody who's a woman who's involuntarily celibate.
yeah, it's really new. Like it's just getting started to be studied and all that. So I don't know much about it, but I find the topic very interesting of finally studying people who are single, lonely and against single, and they didn't choose to be single. Okay, so and that's a lot of us.
Yeah,
Like that's a lot of us. We want to be like if people choose to be single. I'm not talking about these people, but like a lot of people, we want to be in love. We want to, like we're wired to be in love and in relationship. So yeah.
How do you deal with like 40-year-old virgins?
Yeah.
do you see that often? Like older? I guess probably mostly men.
No, not even. No, because I know that exists, but I think they're too shy to come talk about it. Okay.
So you've never had an experience with the
Not a male. I have more female, like more women that comes to mind who are virgins in their 30s. And the problem is not their virginity. Their problem is dating. Okay. So when we date, I like to say that we all have like a big secret. Whether it's like I used to do like hard drugs, or I went bankrupt, or I have 2 kids, or whatever.
or my old relationship was toxic as fuck.
Really? So now I have all. So now I'm bookie. Like I have all these.
All these défauts de fabrication, all these defects.
I'm all fucked up.
Yeah, some people are like, I'm broken. I like, and it's hard. Okay, like I'm broken. I'm not meant to be in a relationship. So when dating, we all have like a big secret. Or maybe I have herpes, okay? So virgin or not, like we all have a big secret. So then we talk about dating and their fear of dating and like, oh, when do I have to tell the person that I'm a virgin? I'm like,
You don't have to say it.
Like, you don't have to say the first date. Like, calm down, okay? Like, you can date and like build a relationship and see when that person earns that trust, because that person also has a secret. You know, like when I said anxiety makes us sound self-centered, and then we're like, is that person going to reject me when they know that blah blah blah? Well, that person thinks the same about some of their issues about you.
You stop thinking about yourself.
Yeah, basically,
You
like
know?
we're all human. We're all insecure, and that's normal about some things.
Right.
So,
But I feel there's also like a stigma towards virgin women.
Of course.
It's like, you know,
And
the
men.
guys that say that, like, or like the guys that say like, oh, like I just want to fuck. Like, I don't want to take away a woman's virginity because she'll get attached or whatever. You know that stigma? Am I crazy? I feel that's a stigma.
again, I see that I see that on TV.
Yeah, exactly.
But
I guess.
But like a lot of guys would just be like, oh, okay, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. And then if they do start like a serious-ish relationship, then it just becomes natural. And, you know,
For sure.
so, same thing for if a woman meets someone with kids. It's like, oh, I don't want to become like the mother-in-law. Like, you don't know yet. Just start to know get to know the person, and then you'll figure it out.
Step by step.
Yeah, step by
Chill.
step. And people don't do step by step now because we're so
Fucking, yeah.
we're so in a hurry, and we're so used to like, oh, well, it's not working with you. Oh, I have like 50 other choices.
Yeah, exactly.
So why would I invest and like try to work it out?
Yeah.
Like, people don't have the work it out mindset anymore. They have the soulmate mindset.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay? But they say like, oh, I know soulmates don't exist. So they say things, but I'm like, yeah, but the way that you live your life,
It doesn't-
like you're living life in another way, you know?
Yeah,
It's
that's
like
true.
I heard that arranged marriages are like the happiest marriages because they
make it work.
They make it work because they have to learn how to love each other. It's fascinating.
Really, my mom just said that to me the other day. So my parents are Cambodian, and they're like, my mom goes like, in my time, she goes like, she doesn't understand online dating. Okay.
Okay.
She's like, but how do you know the person's not dangerous or not a murderer and all that. I'm like, you just go to a park and you meet and that's it. Okay.
Yeah.
And she
Maybe not a
goes-
park, maybe a coffee shop. but a
Coffee
park
shop.
is up. Yeah.
And then she goes like, oh, in my time, so for your generation, it's if it works. In my generation, it has to work.
Yeah, it's when it works.
Like it has to work. I'm like, yeah, because now we have choices. Women like we work, we're like more financially independent, and we don't have to like have babies when we're 19, things like that. So yeah, the idea that like you have to work it out. There to a certain limit. Okay. Some people they don't know when to quit. They think that everything is figurable. I'm like, no, there's a sweet spot.
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
Yeah.
There's I feel like for the longest time, we've been living in like and even today, misogynistic world, mostly like patriarchal is what I mean. Where like
What do you mean by that? Because some people
like,
are gonna be like, oh no,
basically
he's
what
intense.
I mean, but what I mean by patriarchal is like men have bbeen basically in a situation of authority for most of
human history.
existence.
Yeah. And some guys will be like, no, because I was in the army, okay? Or just when I hear guys are like, no, that's not true. Like in my family, my mom was the head of the house. I'm like, yeah, okay. So there's like power of the house, but in society now, who controls army, government, big banks, and CEOs?
Yeah, exactly.
Most of them are still like men.
Still men,
basically.
and you know, right now we're trying to be progressive, and it's all dandy, but I feel like us as humans have only been living in this trying to make it progressive period for such a short period of time that we're still trying to figure it out, you know? But like this patriarchy has been ingrained for thousands of years.
Yeah.
You know? So we're at the beginning, or maybe I'm completely wrong, and it's been a battle that's been fought for multiple hundreds of years, but I feel like most of the progress has been made in the last 100 years. You know what I'm saying?
You're right that it's going very fast. It's going very fast, and some people, men and women, are just change adverse. Let's say,
Yeah.
it's going to. They're like, oh no. So then, like, they have all these like defensive reaction to it.
They're like off put
because it goes very fast. It changed. That's true. And like with all the like everything that's happening right now, so I can see. I don't excuse them, but I can see how some people are overwhelmed. Okay, because we all have like we all have a tolerance of change, let's say, and how we can tolerate openness and all that. So if it goes fast, like you just said, some people are just gonna be like overwhelmed, basically.
Yeah, exactly. Resist.
Yeah.
Have you heard about the new documentary / movie that came out? It's called What is a Woman? It's created by a gentleman by the name of Matt Walsh.
No, Netflix. On Netflix?
No, it's these guys made the marketing mistake of putting it behind a firewall.
Oh, okay.
A paywall?
Yeah, paywall. But it's I want to say the Daily Wire or something Wire.
Oh, okay. Like an online magazine,
It's
like a website.
No. It's an online media company that has a paid membership program. But they created
okay.
this movie that that stirred up a lot of controversy on YouTube. At least a lot of progressive people like flooded the stream in order to make it not publishable or seen when it initially came out.
Okay.
But essentially, it's just this guy like going to see these progressive therapists, I guess, who are aiding and facilitating transitioning for a lot of men and women that are extremely young. So let's say they're like they're kids.
We're talking about like transgender youth.
Yeah.
Sexual transition.
So so essentially he was just like I guess he was trying to make the argument that like these kids are like way too young to even know.
How old?
Like there's kids going to like these like therapies at like an extremely young age. Like I don't want to say an actual age, but it was like below like 14 years old, and they're like, oh, I think I want to be a girl. Oh, I think I want to be a boy. And like he was trying to make the argument is like if, like for instance, okay, this is probably a bad example, but I'll say it anyways. Like if you tell yourself, oh, I want to be a cat, but you've never actually felt what it felt like to be a cat, how do you know you're transitioning into
something that you want?
Something to that thing. You know what I mean? If you don't know what it feels like. So the whole title of his documentary was "What is a Woman?" So he would like ask just this question, and the people who were aiding in transitioning, let's say, men into women, couldn't give a simple answer of like what a woman is. So what are you?
What are you transitioning
What,
to?
yeah, what
Or
are you?
What are you
what-
aiming for?
Yeah, what's the aim here?
Yeah.
What? Why are you doing surgery on this person's body? And like, what are you facilitating if you don't know what the aim is? And like, that was his whole point of his documentary, but it's kind of useless to talk about it because I haven't seen it. But I know it stirred up a lot of.
No, but the idea, like, there's still people who are like, oh, transitioning at what age and what is this thing, and oh, they need to do the surgery for it to be complete for like people, because I work for the army again, okay, like I work for the army again as a formatrice trainer.
Yeah, I guess formatrice.
How do you say
Formatrice.
Okay,
yeah,
so
I give a training basically on how to.
on what?
Yeah, and one guy was like,
No, but what would you give training on? Like, what was the topic of training?
you working with different humans basically.
Oh, okay, so you were like,
so a bit what we're talking about today.
Right.
And one guy was really like not being critical, but it's just like, why would a trans person choose to not have surgery if they want to become the other sex? I'm like, because transition is like a scale, and the last step would be like surgery, but surgery is still surgery. So if that person is like comfortable doing everything except the surgery, which has some risk, some like very big health risk, that's their choice and that's it. Like, so us sometimes will be like, well, it's not, you don't really want it if you don't go all the way. But they don't, like, what is all the way? Like, just with sex, what is all the way in sex? So what is all the way for transitioning? And the idea, like what you're talking about, the documentary is for kids, for youth. I'm not knowledgeable enough about that to comment precisely, but just saying, I just know that teenage years for everybody, there's a lot of like identity exploration, okay? And we also us, we explored our gender when we were kids, like playing with stuff and like that. And then at some ages it crystallizes, okay? So then the idea is like, at what ages does it crystallize, and do people like do we take decision, like life-changing decision, when before the crystallization of our gender identity, okay? So yeah, I don't.
And also like that's also like a different for a lot of different people. Like some people are gonna get crystallized, let's say at 14. Some people are gonna crystallize at 21. Some people,
True,
you know,
true,
so
true.
there's like a big
There's
spectrum there as well.
There's definitely, and like family of origin, you don't know where their person is, you know.
Yeah,
there's
but
so many
it's
things.
if, for example, being gay or being a lesbian, it's a complicated thing. Okay, so it's like explaining that to a child, it would be like very difficult. For example, like you have Sarah and Daisy, two girls, and then they're very young. They're like 8 years old, and it's like, let's say you try to explain what being a lesbian is to two 8-year-old girls. Like it's like, what's when you like a girl? It's like, well, I like Daisy, and it's like, am I lesbian? And it's like, well, you know, maybe. And then you have the guy who's like, you know, Ryan, like, I like Daisy too. Am I lesbian? And it's like, no, Ryan, that's not how the way it works. It's more complicated like than that. So it's, I feel like, you know,
I feel like they're too young personally. Like my
For
take,
sure.
my take is like trying to teach that to kids is like far fetched.
It's like algebra.
No, but it's like overreach.
No, it depends. It's like math, okay? There's like different levels of math. We could say like math is too complicated. We shouldn't teach that in elementary. We should wait until like high school. That's not true, because you just like, you can teach math or sex education at every age, and you gradually increase the level of difficulty according to like their cognitive, social, psychological stage. Basically, you don't use like the big words, and like depending on like their ages, you'll have to use abstract, not like more simple, or you know, things like that, without using stories like the birds and the bees. But you don't have to give like a super scientific explanation. You can just say like, it's when two people love each other, depending on the age. Like it all follows like French and history. It's not that too long. It's like maybe they're too young for the type of explanation you're gonna give. Okay.
Yeah. We were talking about this yesterday because there was an article that came out about this Egyptian girl who got stabbed to death in broad daylight at her university after she rejected a guy and blocked him on Facebook. And then we were talking about this. Yeah, that's a bit dark. But we were just talking about the idea of teaching kids also rejection. Like that's something basic.
Yes.
Like how do you...
How to reject and how to be like, what to do when it happens.
How to ask also, like how to tell someone maybe you like them or...
Yeah.
Facing rejection.
Yeah.
It's like sex education should be more than putting a condom on a banana.
Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
definitely,
Yeah,
definitely.
that idea. So I feel like there's definitely levels, like you said, maybe that could be a very good introduction
I've
level,
never
the
thought
whole
about
rejection
that.
idea.
I've never heard about like being educated to reject someone and to be rejected.
Yeah.
That
Because
would-
what does it teach you? It teaches you self-worth. It teaches you like
Yeah.
you can't depend on a person to validate you, you know?
And also like being rejected, it's really like we're social species. Being rejected, we know. Just not only romantically, but for example, in elementary school, if we were the last one picked in your phys ed
Yeah.
classes, that's a form of
Yo,
rejection.
yeah,
When
yeah,
we go to
yeah.
work and all our coworkers, they went to lunch without us.
Yeah.
Like we don't say because we feel like, oh, we're just being babies, but we
Yeah,
feel it. Okay.
yeah,
So rejection
exactly.
is fundamentally not good for
Yeah.
us. Okay. And rejection also, why is it so painful? Like why is a breakup so painful and like it physically takes a toll? Like it activates the same part of your brain as physical pain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. It's crazy when you think about it. If like it like rejection activates the same part of your brain as
And you're
physical
like, you feel like you're
pain, okay?
hurting.
Yeah.
So we need to learn how to deal with rejection, and it will happen inevitably in your life. So
It's important to have like social mechanisms of support, you know? Because
Yeah.
with that comes like, you know, you're not alone.
Yeah, you need some sort of reform. We see what's happening in the States with like people like shooting people up, and it comes from rejection, resentment, isolation,
yeah, no, the
loneliness.
incels, it's like it's all like a cercle vicieux because they were rejected. They don't develop the skills to like enter a relationship. So it's all
Yeah.
And their
this.
support mechanism is like the
It's-
toxic
exactly,
one. It's like the
exactly.
Reddit. You know?
Yeah, it's Reddit and like online games.
True.
You know what I mean? And then you completely indulge into that world because you're like, I tried once and it fucked up. So yeah. I
And
can
also
see
reminds me
how,
on dating apps when people are like, oh, basically people are like, am I going to be rejected? I'm like, yes, but do you know, like you spend so much focus on you being rejected. Do you know that you also reject people? Like statistically, when you meet someone on dating app, for example, I'm going to say like this, maybe 80% you're going to get along with, okay? Maybe 10% you're going to like, no, it's a no. Maybe 10% you're going to click with. But it still means that
There's a lot of people
that you're
that
you're going to reject because you don't click with. That's 10%. So just remind that you also reject people, and you need to know how to do it nicely.
and also like learning how to reject somebody. Some people feel the need to be with somebody so much because they're so lonely that whoever they come across, they'll fall in love with, you know, and even if it's toxic, but they don't know that they can't gather the courage or whatever to be able to speak their truth, which is, I'm not comfortable with you, I need to reject you. Because a lot of people just go with the flow for years and years and years without really knowing what true happiness is, you know?
Yeah, and I don't want to blame those people or shame them. It's like we have this innate, natural, visceral instinct to be partnered, okay? So yeah, I don't want to be like, oh, you're just settling down and it's just comfort, because it's really it's a human,
It's a human trait.
okay?
Right.
But then you have to like, really take stock. Is this it? Is this it?
Yeah.
Basically, are you in love or are you like just comfortable? Okay.
And then you could also go like too far in that direction, like, you know, like you were saying before, like le prince charmant syndrome, you know, like finding the perfect one, you know.
Yeah,
Yeah, the soul, like the
soulmate,
the soulmate that's gonna like fix, and you're gonna feel at ease.
Yeah, you're gonna
and all that.
indulge in the pureness of love, and
even when people tell me, oh, I know soulmates don't exist. I know like Prince Charming or like the perfect girl that doesn't exist. They say it, but the way that they live their life, I'm like, but you still kind of believe it with your actions, okay? Because you keep like rejecting people on silly stuff, and maybe you're not addressing the real causes of, you know.
I think
So-
I really think like if like kids would have like a more of a one-on-one relationship with like sex education,
Yeah.
it would like solve so many problems, you know, like even like a teacher at school that would have like these sessions with kid after kid, not a class, so you could actually really get into the heart of the subject. Like you could fix a lot of like potential huge problems,
Not really. Sex education is a big a tool that we underutilize. Okay?
Yeah.
And the thing in Quebec is that we have the best sex education program right now. It's made by sexologists and like child experts. The way that it's implemented, that's different though. Okay, so ideally they would just hire sexologists because that's their job. That's what we're trained for, doing sex ed. Instead of like asking for volunteers in school and you're my teacher and you're volunteering, okay, you'll give that. No, it's not because you're a volunteer that you're the best person to do that. Okay, because we're not just teaching content. We're teaching attitudes, values, morality.
Do you know like when you say it's the best in Quebec is the best? It's compared to Canada and the States.
Oh, true. I haven't compared it elsewhere. I'm just like I look at it because I have the program like the whole curriculum, and I'm like it's so well made.
Yeah,
like
it's
it
like
really
complete.
follows. Like it starts from like preschool to Sec 5, and it really follows the social cognitive, like the developmental stage of the kids. Okay. Now they don't give enough funding for that, so it's so
but the implementation that's where it's very important.
So on paper it's great. The way it's implemented that's not great though.
Yeah, so you're suggesting that the government should hire SOFA sexologists.
Okay, not just us,
to do the
but
work.
every sexologist. That's all. Like like I do private practice, but at the core, every sexologist in the province we do sex ed.
Right.
So
have you ever done a school things?
Okay, well, what about like corporate?
What do you mean corporate?
Like a company that's like, how do you maneuver with beautiful people in a office space?
What do you have with beautiful people? Like your questions around beautiful people.
Okay, maybe I should just say people.
Okay. Yeah, corporate. I do like so. I have this contract with the army. I also have some contracts with some corporations, organizations. Sometimes to navigate, like they'll want to like, oh, we need a policy on some of our employees who are transitioning, for example, or there's been some sexual harassment, or like, oh, what should we think about? So they'll hire like a sexologist as a contractor.
Right.
And we do that. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Moving on to
we have so many things to talk about.
topics.
Yeah, but
here.
honestly, I don't think we'll go through everything.
Yeah.
But what do you
We
think of
won't have
Valentine's Day? You think it's toxic for relationships?
It's been studied. It's really interesting. It's only toxic for couples who aren't going so well. Okay, so
That's a lot of pressure.
it's a lot of pressure for couples who aren't going so well.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
for couples who are like chill, it's just okay. It's cool. It's like one day that you can do something special. For couples where there's like some sort of underlying unsaid tension, there's pressure because we do have to buy a gift, and we see a lot of breakup before Valentine's Day.
Before Valentine's Day.
Right before Valentine's Day.
So okay, I was gonna ask, at what time of the year do you see a spike in like calls? Like, brr, brr, brr.
That's hard because there's some like
There isn't.
okay, so before Valentine's Day, there's one. Okay.
There's a little spike.
Valentine's Day, holidays. The holidays is hard because
Family.
family.
Yeah.
Oh.
Family. And then family. So January, people are like, new year, new me. You know?
I'm gonna get therapy.
Yeah, I'm gonna take care of myself as they
Yeah.
should, So those are the spikes that we see. We see like a down in
Summertime.
summertime. Yes, people go on vacation.
Vitamin D.
You're like, ciao.
Yeah.
I'm going on vacation. And we are going on vacation too. So, and then
Okay,
like
cool.
September, it goes up because we're like, oh, okay, back to work.
So you're on vacation right now? You're not working?
No, not right now. It starts in a few weeks.
Okay, cool.
But yeah. So what do I think of Valentine's Day? It's only bad for couples who are not doing so well because of like social comparison. Because you see, like, oh, he's buying a ring for her, or like they're going on this grand vacation or supper and all that. So social comparison, expectations of expectation. And if you give a gift and you do it because you think you're supposed to, then the other person is gonna feel it.
that.
So
Yeah,
the appreciation is not there. So yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. The
So
holiday of love.
Valentine's Day is a catalyseur, like
It's like a
facilitator,
a catalyzer.
a catalyzer of like things that were already there, basically.
Okay. Should I do this article?
Yeah, we'll finish with this kind of interesting
article. So, South African minister bans doggy style during sex.
Did you read
because,
the article?
Yeah. So
What's the
It's
argument?
basically the rationale is that apparently it's the leading cause of cardiac arrest.
yeah.
So this minister says that he banned the use of doggy style during intimate sex among sexual partners or couples. According to South American newspaper, Mozo, whatever his name is, it believes that doggy style is a leading cause of cancer and stroke in both men and women.
He says, and I quote, "The most energy-consuming and stressful sexual position for men is doggy. Look, I'm only giving you guys a snippet, but we will be posting the results of the full research on the ministry website," he said.
And then he says, occasional doggy style sex, especially on Christmas and on Valentine's Day, may not be harmful, but each night may be suicidal.
Okay, this is a joke.
It's ridiculous.
I
Is this
feel
a
like
real article?
I feel like this could be fake, but it's all over Google. When I searched it on Google,
No.
it was all there. But they all kind of feel like
But it's all there because it's so funny. Like, it's so absurd.
yeah.
Is there research done about like certain sex positions and I don't know, the effect on it has on couples, or is it just like is missionary more like romantic than, or is it just not
I've
studied?
never come across scientific papers that study that, because I'll say that's very like sensationalist.
Mm-hmm.
It's like,
It's like, yeah.
yeah, it's just
What is
have you?
sensationalist?
that for me. That's just like gossip.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
it's gossip,
Has what's that book there of like sexual, like Indian sex position?
Kama Sutra.
Kama Sutra.
Yeah.
Have you like studied it or read papers about it, or
No.
is that even in your field?
No, not even, because
Okay, so
like
sexology has nothing to do with like
No, because
sex positions.
no, not at all.
Not at all,
No,
yeah,
not at
yeah.
all. Because like I've never talked about sex position at all.
Do you think it's relevant?
No, it's
Mm-hmm.
not. No, it's not, because if you have a problem in your sex life, try to change sex position. I'll tell you, it's not going to change that much, because the problems are more complex than that. Is people not communicating,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
people not knowing what they like and not communicate. Like it comes out to a lot like not communicating.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yeah.
and then blaming it on the sex position, blaming it on the frequency. That's the easy way out.
Yeah,
basically,
exactly.
opening the relationship. Or people will tell me like, "Oh, we've tried everything: sex toys, lingerie, doing with other people." I'm like, yeah, you're working on the accelerators, but if the brakes are all there, you're still gonna have the problem. But working on the brakes is always more difficult. Okay, so all these things of like switching, like spice it up. Like, do you want to spice it up, or do you have problems that you don't want to address to start with? Okay, it's always more difficult to do that. So all these like tips and tricks online, I'm like, go try them, and tell them come back and tell me if it works.
So to finish this amazing episode off, if you had any just tips and tricks on how to achieve the ultimate.
Yeah, so the
healthy
ultimate
relationship.
Yeah, the ultimate. So it goes together. Ultimate sex life and it goes with ultimate relationship. Okay, so if one of the two person doesn't have any emotional world, like that person is a brick, your sex life is going to be at a mechanical level. Okay, so it's a big task and it's a lifelong task. But like the secret, which is not a secret, is to become a whole human. Okay, and to be capable of vulnerability, and except if you're okay with like mechanical McDonald's sex. Okay, but like
That could be fun as well.
That can be fun as well.
It's more
Yeah.
fun if
Like
there's no brakes on.
yeah, exactly. And like I'll say it's like eating. Okay, so you have like McDonald's and you have like home cooked meals, and then you have like 5-star. Most of the time, like 3 of them are fine, but are you able to have all 3, or you're just like in one category? When people think like the beginning of sex, like it's always like very great, like 5-star Michelin restaurant. I'm like, but do you know this is not the norm? The norm is more like home cooked meals. Okay,
I like
so that's
that.
what like a good sex life is, a good enough sex life. Okay, and to be able to achieve that, there's a lot of like individual things that people can work on. So the ultimate trick would, like, I want to say, it's not natural. It's natural only in the beginning with like the when you're in
The
love.
hormone cocktail.
But like after, you have to work for it. Okay, that's the thing. Love and relationship, or sex and relationship, is like hunger and cooking. Hunger is natural. Cooking takes skills. So you have to work for it. Love and sex is just love is natural, but like the relationship so sex too,
Mm.
takes work.
Mm.
Like you need to have some skills so you can develop it.
Right.
It doesn't come naturally. Like love and hunger is natural,
Mhm.
but cooking and a relationship is not natural. So you have to work and
You could work on your cooking. You
yeah,
could,
you have to,
and you could
to
work on your
practice
relationships.
and
Yeah,
all that.
I got better at cooking pad thai. So
Okay.
I like to think that I got better at
Relationships.
Yeah, no, but that's you have to practice. Yeah, you have to practice.
Thank you so much, man. This
My
was
pleasure.
It
great.
was honestly so insightful.
pleasure.
Make sure, plug. Where can people find you?
Yeah. So I'm not so much on Instagram. I just share funny stories. But sofa.sexologique. Website is sofasexologique.com.
We're gonna put it in the description of the
Thank
video. We're gonna tag
and
for sure.
Facebook the same, Sofa Sexologique.
Hell to the yeah.
That was a sick one.
Yeah, that was a sick one.
you so
Early
much.
morning episode. Thank you so much again. You're
My
the best.
pleasure.
Guys, thank you so much for being with us. If you want to support, make sure to check out our Patreon. Leave a like in the comments. Go check out sofa.sexologique.com. Work on yourself. Make sure that you do it for not only yourself, but the people that you love the most in life. This has been Adel, Sam, and our friend Kanica. Thank you so much for being with us, Sam. Any parting words?
No, that's it, guys. Thank you for sharing your time with us.
Much love, guys.
Peace.
Yay.